the EFI, the Holly Sniper. We just have it on the random sensors. Just reading the random sensors right now. But everything's calibrated. The speedometer's calibrated for the new 342 gears. There's no hood lights in this car. It didn't have them. The interior's all been redone. This is how we got the car. We don't do full restorations. We got this car, it was all fully painted and interior was all done and everything. We just did all the mechanicals on it. So the first one you'll notice right away is that we have a rack and pinion steering unit installed. Now this is a kit from Unisteer that we purchased, and it works pretty good. It does require a few mods to be done for in a 301 application. It is designed for a Pontiac for a Firebird with a Pontiac engine, but of course the brackets are set up for 326 through 455. So because this did come with a power steering pump, which we'll show under the hood later, but rack and pinion steering unit bolts right in, direct bolt in. Here we can see that we have the Hotchkiss Stage 2 front sway bar with their adjustable Heim joint links installed. Here we can see the backside of the cross-drilled slotted 13-inch rotors from Wilwood, and they have the 6-piston calipers on the front. There is modification required to the spindle in order to put the bracket on there for these calipers. We have tubular upper and lower control arms from Hotchkiss with their lowering springs and their shocks. Moving on, going down, we have subframe connectors that were part of the kit from Hotchkiss. These are pretty neat because they bolt onto the front half or the rear part of the subframe. You have to drill the holes for it, but it does bolt on there so that if you ever wanted to remove the frame from the car, you can unbolt it there, because as we move back, they are welded to the frame, to the rear frame rails. So still a neat setup. They're very, very strong. I kind of like them. Might have to add these to my car. Here you can see that we did a modification to use to actually hook up a parking brake cable system for the rear brakes from Hotchkiss. This is their universal parking brake cable system. We kind of slightly modified it and made it work with the stock front half of the cable going to the pedal. So the front half is the stock system, and then the rear half is all from Hotchkiss, or sorry, from Wilwood. So moving back, we can take a look at the rear. We have 4-piston calipers in the rear from Wilwood. This is their staggered system because the Trans Ams do require it to be a staggered brake caliper. So passenger side caliper is at the rear of the axle, driver side is at the front of the axle, mainly due to the shocks. The shock locations are staggered from the factory. So in this case, then of course we got the Hotchkiss shocks. Speaking of Hotchkiss suspension, we have their rear sway bars, much bigger diameter than a stock one. It is a way different configuration as to how it mounts. It does require drilling and putting these plates into the frame rails. It's a much nicer way of mounting it. The stock one, actually, you can see the mounting holes right there on the frame rail. That was where the stock sway bar links actually ended up. So it's nothing close to what the stock one looked like. We have the parking brake cable running up over here because these 13-inch rear rotors, drilled and slotted, have an internal parking brake in the rotor hat itself. That's how they run the parking brake on this. It is no longer part of the caliper like how the factory system was. Kind of a neat setup. Parking brake works in this car. Other modifications, as we're looking back here, we have our 2.5-inch exhaust system, no mufflers, no catalytic converter. It also has our 2.5-inch downpipe. And then also, let's see, we have our 2.5-inch splitter tip tailpipes. These are polished stainless steel. They are not chrome plated. Part of the Hotchkiss suspension, the rear leaf springs, these are lowering rear leaf springs. They do come with all new shackles and everything. gas tank. The gas tank was already new, I believe, when we got the car, but we do have EFI on here, and this is our kit that we sell for the 301 turbo engine. So you can see here we have our braided line, braided nylon AN fitting going to the stock fuel line. If we can get a good view of it, kind of hard to see, it's up in there. And then we're running it back because the fuel pump is in the tank. It's just a single feed line. There's no return required because the regulator is in the back, is actually in the tank. And it runs up front. We have a GM fuel filter right here. Easy to replace, easy to get, part of the kit. And then it runs up to the EFI unit on the car. We do have a 204, oh, the little boot's coming off. This car has been converted to a 204R. It has the cross member in it, just like we have in our videos showing an installation of one of these. But it's been rebuilt, a little bit of a shift kit, has a 2200 RPM stall torque converter in it. Again, 2.5-inch downpipe of ours. Crossover and everything, we don't do anything with that, especially when we have manifolds, the stock manifolds. We're just leaving that as stock. Let's let it down and we'll take a look under the hood next. So under the hood we got a list of mods actually done. So the engine came to us with a blown head gasket originally, and it ran, but coolant had sat in the cylinder wall, or in the cylinder, and actually rusted, put a little bit of pitting in one of the cylinders. When we inspected it, found that it was a Jasper rebuilt engine that was 60 over already, 60 thousandths larger on the pistons. We were able to clean it up and go 65 over, which is about the maximum that you could probably take a turbo block. It's still checked out okay on a sonic check on cylinder wall thickness, but I probably wouldn't go any further than that. So it was all done up, 65 over, forged pistons. It has a roller cam in it. This is the small comp roller cam that was available at the time. It seems like right now they're kind of on back order or whatnot. Other than that, heads are just stock rebuilds. Obviously upgraded valve springs and everything for the roller camshaft. It has a stage 5 turbo on it. It has my 2.5-inch downpipe like we stated before. It is on a Holley EFI system as we stated before. So the Holley EFI, the Sniper throttle body, part of our kit is to machine your plenum so that no adapter plate is needed. And without, we don't need this spread bore to square bore adapter that most people end up using. The benefit of that is that you can use the stock air cleaner and not have hood clearance problems. So that's another benefit of our kit. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else. We did add the water alcohol injection system. You can see that right here. So there is a nozzle in the air cleaner. The other side, then also this is the Unisteer modern power steering pump that they give you. This is part of the kit. We had to modify the bracket a little bit to get it to bolt up to the 301 heads and water pump or alternator bracket because it was designed for the taller deck 326 through 455. But we got it all cleaned up. The car's been detailed, ceramic coated, and it just looks stunning. I think we should just go take this car for a ride. What do you think? All right, let's go for a ride. I can make a timing curve, whatever I want, and not be limited to the mechanical movement of the distributor. I like to drive it around in normal drive, technically third gear, until I get over 50 miles an hour. Then I'll put it in overdrive. Well, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, share, you know, ring the bell, all that stuff. Yeah, until next time, take it easy.